Energize your performance with a subscription to Walton Webcasting. Subscribe. Study your moves. Make improvements. And energize your performance. Only WaltonWebcasting.com.
Sometimes a picture just doesn't give you the full picture. Don't give your customers false expectations. Let them know exactly what they're getting with a show pig shoot from Walton Webcasting. You talk your pigs and we capture them in stunning HD video. Then stream them live for the world to see your sale preview. For more information on your next show pig shoot, call Rhonda at 765-431-7367. Always know what class is in the ring. Use your smartphone and log on to WaltonWebcasting.com, where all of our live shows are free to watch. From coast to coast, these major sponsors make it possible for us to do what we do. Brad Howell Ford at bhiford.com. Sunglow Feeds at sunglowfeeds.com. First Farmers Bank and Trust at ffbt.com. Umburger Show Feeds at umburgerandsons.com. And Kennedy Ventures at kennedyventuresok.com. Thank you. We couldn't do this without you.
This is a Walton Webcasting production.
Livestock like you've never seen before.
Turn it up. Yep. Check 1, 2. Well, if you guys want to start gathering around over here from the food tent here, if you guys are ready, we're going to get underway here, at least get some of the introductions out of the way. You turn that up a little. Check, check. Like so. Can you guys hear me all right down there at the end? I don't know if they can hear me or not. Good? All right, we're going to get at least get a few of the introductions out of the way here and everything, and we'll get started here and get rolling through these things here as efficiently as we can. I know everybody's got a big day ahead of them here, and certainly appreciate all of you making the effort to get out here to see the Boars here this afternoon. As we get started here, I got my wife's got me a list of stuff here to go through. And first and foremost, like I said, thank everybody. Cutting out. Thank everybody for coming here this morning, and we've got a lot of people to thank here today. And we'll start off with Todd setting up here and Doug Albright with ShowRite Feeds, and I want to thank them for sponsoring the meal here today. They do that every year, and we work extremely close with the ShowRite crew as far as on the nutritional program here, particularly on the Boar side, but all the way through our program, whether it be sow feed all the way to baby pigs to our show pigs, and a great outfit to work with, and always happy to have Todd and Doug and the ShowRite group here to answer any questions if you guys want to get into any discussions. I know to talk about the feed side here just real quick at the beginning, and I believe that banner's hanging over there in the other barn, and it talks about the blueprint program that ShowRite offers. And for any of you that don't know about the Blueprint program, you definitely need to sit down and talk to these guys. And as we talk about semen quality and what it does for semen quality, it's in our sow feeds, and it does as much on the sow side from a reproductive standpoint in terms of fertility, in terms of eggs, and getting the right kind of fertility and keeping them in the right condition. We always talk about the fertility side of things from the Boar side, and the boar always gets the slap on the wrist if the sow doesn't breed, and we try to do our best from a semen quality standpoint. But more importantly, if you have any questions about where you're at from a sow feed standpoint, from a sow feed conditioning side of things, definitely talk to Todd and definitely talk to Doug about that, because preparing them for breeding season is as important as us preparing our boars for breeding season. So definitely talk to them about that program, because I can assure you that it makes a huge difference in terms of conception rates, and not only on the Boar side but on the sow side. So won't get into too many lectures on that, but I definitely do think that's something that you might inquire about. We've got a few different deals here this year, and as always, for anybody that's been here in the past, we do offer a 25% add-on to any prepay that is today. So any of the, we always give you a price list here today. So if there's any of the boars that you're interested in using, to kind of give you a heads up of where they're going to be priced at, whether you're looking at trying to hit overrun or you're trying to pre-book some of that stuff. So whatever you pay today, we add 25% to whatever you put down on your prepay today. So if you kind of know a ballpark of what you want to do, it's a pretty good deal in terms of return on your money from that standpoint, and it works good for both of us to kind of get an idea on what direction we're heading in. So if anybody wants to do that at the conclusion of the open house, I believe Sherry, my aunt, will be in the office in there. You can go in the front door. She'll get you set up on the contract. We do ask that money is used, though. I believe it's by like October 25th. Is that right? That we use all that. So it's got to be used in this breeding season. It's not something that carries over, but it's from now until August 25th if you are interested in it. It's been we started that about 3 or 4 years ago, and that's been a great program. A lot of people have taken advantage of it. So if it's something that you're interested in, just step into the office there or run one of us down here. We can get you pointed in the right direction and get you fixed up. The other thing is on the back of your sheet there, there is the Top Cut store is open now with Fierce Threads. There's a QR code on that. If you scan that QR code, it'll bring you right up to the website If there's anything that you guys are interested in, we get a ton of calls on apparel, and we're never very good at having our stuff together. So this year we tried to maybe get a little bit ahead of the curve there and give you guys an option there. With being at the open house, there is a discount, a 10% discount on any of that stuff. And when you go into the scan the QR code, the code for the open house is Open House 10. So if anybody wants to take advantage of that, that's open now and will be open through the next few days here for sure. So we want to thank Fears for getting that put together for us and all that kind of good stuff. What's this? What's this? July 24th. Oh, July 24th to August 7th. Should have asked that before I got out here. All right. So with that being said, there we've got. I think we've got a great lineup of boars to go through here today, and we've got 16 or 17 probably new boars that have come in here, and whether they're mature boars or young boars that we've purchased, very excited about them. And as always, if you got any questions, certainly don't hesitate to holler at me here, and we can get you lined out on the boars and stuff. Want to thank everybody. There's a ton of people it takes to put on this stuff, and not that anybody sitting around ringside doesn't know that, and too many to thank. And we've got a great group of people in this area here that are extremely good show families and very competitive, and as competitive as everybody is. Great together as far as stepping in on days like this to help out, and Morgan and I definitely couldn't do it without the guys that work for us, along with all the volunteer help that we get, and we certainly want to thank them for helping us out here today. Hey Tim, where's that other sheet at? So as we get started here, I will introduce the guys that work for us, mainly so when you do call in, it's always good to put a name with a face here. And we've got a great group of guys that help us out here. And Spencer Malcolm here in kind of the pink-colored shirt with us here probably for about 6 or 7 years now. Basically since the beginning, it's been back around here, and Spence handles a lot of the day-to-day stuff, not only here in the Boar Stud, but as well as on the south side of things, and selling show pigs, and a great asset to us, and certainly one that if you got any questions, you can't get a hold of me or Tim in the office there, you can definitely run Spence down, and he can put you in the right direction. Kyle Webster standing there next to him. Kyle just started here basically the 1st of June. And Kyle is going to be a big part of it as well, doing the same thing that Spence is. Kyle will probably be on the road a little bit more with me at some of the Southwest pig sales and whatnot, but we got to have one guy stay home and one guy to go. So Kyle's going to be the guy that gets to run, and look forward to having Kyle alongside of us here, hopefully for a long stretch here. Willie Kirkpatrick back here in the middle. Willie obviously covers most of the Southwest stuff, but he might more calls than I do the Midwest sometimes, it seems like, but Willie does a great job for us in the South, and he's responsible for purchasing a lot of those little pigs that come out of the Southwest sales here throughout the fall, and has been a great asset from that standpoint, and definitely you can get a hold of him if you have any questions as far as from the Boar side of things. Tim, he just ran to the office here, which most of you probably know Tim. He'll be back out here, and Tim handles the day-to-day stuff. And Tim's one of them guys that I'll put up against anybody in terms of managing the office and managing the boars from a seaman standpoint. And he can usually see a problem before it ever arises to make sure that we got it heading in the right direction. And Tim's been in the business a long time. He's very knowledgeable about the business. And again, he's one of the guys that you're going to talk to quite a bit. If you call in from a day-to-day standpoint, I'll be honest with you, I'm not very good about sitting in the office, so that fits right into Tim's wheelhouse, and it's good for me. So Tim does an awesome job, and when he gets back out here, we've got the crew over here. My wife back here to my right, Morgan, there in the tan-colored jacket. She handles basically everything in there from the finance side of stuff. And then Harper sitting here in the pinstriped coat, and Brooklyn there to the next. Those are my two oldest. Stella is our youngest, and this is not normal that we don't know where she's at, but she's around here somewhere. She'll be the one that has the cats. and that she'll be carrying around. And we are going to auction those here later on if anybody needs another round of barn cats. If we could sell barn cats, I promise you we may not have to have a boar stud. We got enough of them. But that's Stella. She's around here somewhere. And again, the family's around here. And like I said, I can't thank everybody enough for helping out. So we're going to get underway here with the boar viewing. If you are following along on Walton, this is a little different this year. We videoed all the boars prior to the open house here. And from an open house setting, it's a little hard to see the boars in the ring here. So we pre-videoed all the boars. We're going to try it. This will be the first time that Grant said anybody's done it. So we pre-videoed the boars. So if you are watching online, you are actually going to see the pre-video of the boars with me talking, no different than if we're at a sale or something like that. So we tried to do it so you get maybe just a nickel better visual of these boars, and so you had a better view of them just in a side view. So hopefully it works out. We'll be anxious to hear the feedback from that standpoint if you're following along on Walton. But we do have a few boars that will be live videoed in the ring, just from the standpoint that we didn't have them videoed or they didn't act right that first day. So as we get started here, we're going to work down through the list here. The first boar we're going to start with, if you're following along, is Once and Forever. This is a boar that we purchased there late last spring from Ham Livestock and Cobb family. Steve and Aaron would have raised this boar here. This was a sow that when Dustin was there at Cobb's, that he would have farrowed there. This is a Symmetry, never before. Symmetry is just getting started there, a boar that stands down there at Cobb still. This boar here, his first pigs are on the ground. Dustin and Cobb's would have pigs that would be Tulsa, Dallas, Kansas City size pigs out of this boar. And the feedback and the results of what this boar has done so far has been extremely good. The pigs sold like wildfire. I think that first round, about 14 that Dustin sold, averaged over 4,000 in that group. And very consistent, very predictable. This boar here, he comes across as a build and design type of a boar, and he definitely does that. The fact that the amount of power that he brings for his build and design, bone in them things are very consistent, very predictable in terms of just heaviness of structure, and the fact that he puts as much look in them and still puts as much just body and stoutness in there in terms of the way he reads at this point in time. Obviously a little bigger, a little more mature boar in terms of extension, but those things are stout. They're square. The hogs that Willie has seen down there and went through when we purchased this boar, they just consistently keep getting better. So this is a boar here that I know definitely we're gonna see a lot of use out of this particular hog here, and I think one that complements a lot of the genetics that are maybe out there in terms of just that extra look and extension and the length of body thing. You know, where he reads as a mature boar. You know, some people would want to shoot you when you say this, but there's enough of them out there that probably use a little length of body, so they might make it to the show in terms of growth and performance. And he's one that I don't think is going to hurt you in that aspect. I think proportions will be pretty consistent, but we get into enough of those now that are definitely a little shorter bodied, a little more jammed up, that could probably use a little more extra build design. And this is one there that I think can definitely do it in that aspect and still keep the foot, the bone, the feature that we need to try to be competitive at those big shows throughout the year. Again, this is Once and Forever. Next boar we got up here is going to be Boot Cut. This is a boar that we got there in February last year from the Dalton family there in Ohio. This was actually their this was actually going to be their Duncan entry, and the boar got hurt there before Duncan. Dalton's do. Great family we do a lot of business with. Hit us up about this particular boar here. This boar here is a skinny jeans and goes back to the bottom side like his grandmother would be, Juggernaut's littermate sister, that's done a good job there on the south side. When you get back into some of Sloan's stuff that they would have raised there and sold at there at Duncan a few years back. Again, very similar to what we talked about in the once and forever type of hog. This one came in and had a great look and a great design to him. Link the hip and flexibility in there. And again, as I've alluded to, you get into some of the lines that are out there. I think him in terms of his look, he's always had great shape up high, and he's always been stout and square off of both ends. And the one thing about it is putting look in hogs and maintaining feature, but more importantly, maintaining body shape in them things is becoming a little bit of a lost art in some of that stuff. And this is a boar that I think does that very well in terms of combining look and still having enough roundness of rib to him and spread both down low and up high. Very flexible boar, good design type of a hog. Very excited about this one. The first ones are just hitting the decks right now, so we'll see where we end up. But like the design, like the flexibility of boot cut, bred by Dalton's. Next board we got up here is going to be Pat This. Pat This was a purchase that Willie would have made at the established sale there last fall from IDK Genetics. Pat This, this boar here is a pitter patter, cruel intention. So pitter patter would be actually a boar that Sloan would have raised that IDK bought. That is a cruel intention. Cruel intention back on a juggernaut sow. This boar here, so he's actually a double bred cruel. The pigs in the nursery right now, I just tell you, are very, very good. This boar here, as we start rolling through these Novembers here, we've probably bred as many back to this boar as we have. This boar here we own with Fontenot Farms there in Louisiana. John, he texted me there actually yesterday or the day before, very excited about what these pigs look like. So this boar's first crop, I know Willie's extremely pumped up about what he's seen in these pigs. This boar has been honestly just a very consistent hog from day one. He's looked like that from day one when Willie purchased him there at the established. He came home, he went through the stages in terms of a steady growing hog. I would tell you, about like any of the crosses in terms of how big, how fast they get. I'd say he's very steady in that aspect. This boar here, in terms of pedigree, I always thought was super square from behind. He gets out and goes, but that one's got a stout feature, a great look to him, and show bear deluxe in my opinion. This one here, when he weighed a 280 and we pictured him, I would have told you could have given him a run at any bear show in the United States, looking like he did. Super stout, super dense, super hairy. This one here, I think I sheared about 4 inches of hair off his head when we pictured him before. This one here, I think has a very, very good future to him. Like this hog from the beginning, still like him today, and he's definitely one that if there's a boar in this stud that you are going to try on the crossbred side, this is one that I definitely think needs to be put in a sow. This is Pat This, bred by IDK. He's a pitter patter, cruel intention. Next one up here is going to be Steel Force. Steel Force here, this would be another baby pig purchase there a couple falls ago from Mike Steele. This boar here is a Stay Classy. He'd be a Stay Classy provoked visionary. And this particular boar here, so he would have had his first crop would have showed there at last spring there at the Southwest Majors there. Got along very, very good. He hung in there all the way through. I know Willie had a couple of them that got along very good. Again, this is another boar that is owned with Fontenot Farms there in Louisiana. This one here honestly generates just like he looks. You need to take him to some of those sows that maybe are a notch bigger, that's got a little more build. let him bring the substance, the back, and the power to it. Very consistently does it in that aspect. I know we've had a couple of them things here out of the ones we've raised that just won a few counties here in Indiana that have fed very, very good. These hogs actually probably are a nickel bigger than you would think out of this particular hog. They actually grow, and that boar there has never been one that I would ever told you was a big one, and he's still not. But the hogs actually out of him very consistently get after it and convert extremely well. So taking them back over those bigger sows and in that combination seems to work very, very good. But again, in terms of what he generates what he looks like. I would tell you that was a very consistent generator in the aspect of body mass and consistently just making him basically big-bodied, big-boned, and still maintaining that flexibility. So this is Steel Force. This would be the boar that we purchased as a weanling from Mike Steele there in Oklahoma. Next boar we got coming in here, Chester boar. This is Delta. This was a boar that was a champion Chester boar at the Indiana State Fair last year. Myself and Clay Pruitt ended up buying this boar there at Indiana. This boar here is he's a Coven. Which would have been a champion Chester boar there at Indiana the year before, would be back on a Hill Son, which would be a Hill Jack son. This particular boar here, feedback has been awesome. The first crop of these things, he would have had the third, what was Clay's gilt at summer type? Third or fifth? I think she was fifth overall Chester gilt there at Springfield, and doing a great job. The guys in the Southwest that we're getting feedback on right now seem to be very, very high on them. We're pretty excited about the ones that are going to the Midwest State Fairs up here. We kind of got this one there at Indiana time, so he maybe didn't get quite the publicity as some of the other boars did, but I'll be honest with you, when this one hit the ring there at Indiana, I thought this was one of the better Chester boars that I'd seen there last summer, and Clay knows more about the Chester breed than me, and he agreed, so we ended up partnering up on this boar. But at the same point in time, I would tell you, as I said with Steel Force, this boar seems to be very predictable in stamping that look and design in the hogs that are out of him. The semen quality for a Chester boar has been very, very good. This boar here consistently, that's what a Clay there last fall, he said, I don't think I missed anything to Delta this go around, and he said two things. He said, I haven't missed anything to Delta, and he said, all my baby pigs that I've got there this winter I didn't have any short-titted ones, and he fights that in the Chester deal. So in terms of from a maternal standpoint, from a quality standpoint, we're getting into some rare things in the Chester breed when we start talking a boar, Chester boar that consistently gives you good quality semen and then stamps a 6 underline. That's always a good thing. But this particular boar here, like I said, I would tell you to use him like he looks. He's going to generate very similar to his build. I would tell you from a bone standpoint, he will add bone in a place or two. He will more consistently probably stick with the sow in terms of feature. He probably doesn't add as much as you might think in a place, but good bone sows that are good body, that need a little extra look and a little extra flexibility is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck out of Delta. So this is Delta. This boar is bred by Stephen King. He would have been a champion boar there at Indiana last summer. Next board we got coming in here, this is Lockout. This is another Chester board that's going to be coming in here. This is a Lockwood son, back on an out of the box. This was our Belton purchase. I actually just put his picture up for the first time here that I took back in the spring. We got him in there kind of late, and we got him off to a slow start there. I kind of held him over here to make him basically a new boar here going into the spring here, into the fall. This boar here, Lockwood, that would have been a boar that actually Clay Pruitt would have raised. It stood there at Crossroads. This one here would have had 2 mate gilts, 1 wonder class. The other one would have been third. I think them gilts averaged about 1,500. Then we bought the boar. This boar here at the show, I mean, in terms of stoutness, bone, feature, of the Chester boars that were there, he stood alone in terms of power. This one's got a big forearm, a big back, a big hip, and a big stout stifle going away from you. Still heavy boned, and he's always picked it up there and set him down extremely good for the amount of power that he had. You know, I would tell you he's a little bit of the opposite of what Delta is. Those two kind of need bred together, to be honest with you. This one here, back on those sows that maybe look a little more like we talked about Delta, the build and design type of styles that need a little extra substance to them, is where Lockout's going to be a little more fitting. So this is Lockout. This has been a boar we purchased there at Belton from Steve Jordan there in northern Indiana. This sow here has done a very good job. This was one he actually purchased there from Rotoballs a few years back. That would have been out of that's good, Kyle. That would have been out of the box, which was a boar that stood here that we had purchased from Bill Range there a few years ago. That's Lockout. Next board we got coming up here, get into some of the Durocs here. Next one coming in here is going to be Back It Up. This was a purchase out of the draft a year ago from Robin Ridge there, Mike Fagg, that we would have purchased there out of the draft. This board here is a backdraft Red Lion. Again, his mom was one that Mike would have purchased at the Fall Classic. She was one of the foundation gilts that Trace Amigos sold there a few years ago at Duncan, would be the mother of this particular boar. This boar here honestly has done a good job. He would have sired, I believe the first class winner there at Summer Type would have been out of Back It Up, and we were fortunate here to have a really nice set of pigs out of this particular boar. He maybe didn't have the price tag and the hype of some of them going in there last fall, but most of the people that came through and seen him certainly appreciated the boar for what he was. This was a big round rib one at his fighting weight there. Still had a good look to him. Substance is good in him. These things here, I will tell you, they're a lot. I mean, those things when they were little in our nursery, I was a little concerned that we were going to be too much. They went through the growing side of it and shot up and maintained their muscle, but kept it in check as they grew. I would tell you the ones that probably have fed the best for us have been the kind of the middle of the road ones, maybe the little greener ones that we've had. But again, I wouldn't take him to anything that's too stout. I would take him to some of them that are the better built ones that definitely need a little more substance, just a little more power to them. This is Back It Up. This would be a boar bred by Robin Ridge. We're going to the next two boars that are going to be coming in here. We're going to run Kaboom first. Kaboom and Widowmaker are litter mates. These two boars here would have been our purchase last winter from Yanis and Bedeker. These boars here would be Bomb Squad, back on a last drop sow. That sow would be a litter mate to deal with it, that stands down there at Wintex, and then the mother of these boars would be the same sow that raised Double Up, that's there at Crossroads. We ran over there last winter on a nice calm windy day in northern Illinois to look at these things, and Bryce ran them out there, and I thought a pair of boars that put a tremendous amount together in terms of feature and design for where we're at maybe in the red breed at this point in time. Both boars were big hogs. Kaboom was the one that was more of the outlier, probably a little more extreme in every aspect as we talk about shape in red hogs, and if you need shape in red hogs, I will promise you this boar boar will put shape in them. This boar here, for a red boar, had a ditch in his back, and that seems to be one of the uncommon things right now in the red breed. Them things want to be just a little rounder topped, and I think this is a boar, if you got those type of sows that need a little more shape, just a little harder back, he's definitely one from that aspect. This boar got hurt right when he came in, and he's kind of got a little hitch in his back leg there. This boar, I will assure you, was plenty flexible and sound. Like I said, I wish he wouldn't have got injured there right about the time we were getting ready to picture him and move him out of isolation. And both these boars, what Bomb Squad has done in terms of feedability and consistency, I'm not sure there's not another red boar out there that's been as consistent in terms of just feedability. I'm not telling you he's won every show, but he'll dang sure give you a chance if you take him home and take care of him. And that's probably what intrigued me about these boars. And then you get on the bottom side, and for those of you that know me, I'm a sow fanatic, and I firmly believe in if you want to make hogs better, you got to start with a good sow. And you get on the bottom side, this sow's proven. You go back to what Deal With It did in his first crop in the Southwest. There's a lot of proven pedigree in these boars right here. And by talking to the feedback of a few guys that have them old enough and can kind of tell where they're at, Kaboom has had a lot of. That's good, Kyle. Kaboom's had a lot of feedback in terms of positive, and what we're talking about in terms of putting shape and power back in some of them. This boar will definitely help you from that aspect. So this is Kaboom, one of the two boars there from Yanis and Bedeker. So the next board is going to come in here is going to be Widowmaker. Again, this is a litter mate to Kaboom. Of the boars in this of this group, this one here was always the balance and the build boar. That was probably if you were taking them to a show, this one here is probably the one that has a chance to win the show. Kaboom was maybe the one that always stood right there in about second to third, and it was just a matter of who wanted to tie into him. I think when you see this the build of this one, it does me when I look at him, and then I see the power that Kaboom has. I think the combination of look at both them boars in terms of build and design and flexibility is very, very good. Love the look of this hog here. Like his design. Maybe not quite as extreme as what Kaboom was in the early stages, but you want to talk about a boar in terms of build, in terms of flexibility, and still maintaining feature. And I think that's the biggest thing is we talk design in so many of these hogs. They got to have look, they got to have build, but we got to maintain the substance with them. And getting that combination to click is where I thought Widowmaker had a huge advantage over a lot of them that I had seen there through the spring of the year there trying to buy boars going into spring breeding season. So this is Widowmaker. Again, balanced flexibility. I think this is a boar you can pretty much cover a numerous type and kind of sows, and he's certainly not going to get you in trouble and definitely keep you out of the ditch and heading you in the right direction. So that's Widowmaker, again, bred by Yanis and Bedeker. Bomb Squad, last drop. I was like, oh, it's not going to be good. We're going to need a panel right now. Yeah. Be up in the seats. Next board we got coming in, getting to the Berkshire pen here. This is going to be Tink Tank. Tink Tank was a board we got there from Wintex, picked up there last fall. This one's a bad negotiator on a Speak Now. And again, you get back in there and you start talking pedigrees again on the bottom side. This board here, you know, the Speak Now stuff certainly needed no introduction for what it did in the Berkshire breed there when it was rolling. This board here has done an awesome job. Still got along extremely good down there in the Southwest, showing there. I know Cassidy Hayes had a great run down there with some of his Tink Tanks throughout the spring shows. This boar here, in terms of elevation look and having a big old forearm and a big front leg in him, does an excellent job of providing look, build, and design. And I would tell you still from the standpoint that Tink Tank and making females and making working them built right and making them correct holds a tremendous amount of value in stamping that look and still that heaviness of structure with them, and does an excellent job of making, I would tell you as much as anything, it appears to me, making big ring type of a gilts that can go out there and compete on all facets throughout the United States. Build and design is where you're probably going to get the most out of Tink Tank and Tink Tank daughters that you do have laying around there. We got a boar coming up here later that I think will match up extremely good with some of our stuff, the FJ stuff, and going back to Tink Tank and some of the boars that we've had here on the Berkshire side of things. With that said, this is Tink Tank, bred by Wintex. Again, another boar we got in there last fall, has done a great job. Bad negotiator, speak now. Next boar we got coming in here is a Hampshire boar. This is Doing Time. This boar here is a Bandit World Class Stop the Madness. This boar is bred by Harvey Showstock. Travis there over in eastern Indiana. Travis had a great run here with those Hampshire boars he had down there at Louisville this couple weeks ago. This one here, this would be a Bandit son, which Bandit was actually a stranded that we had here that Harvey's raised as well. We lost Bandit there late last spring, last spring, a year ago. And we were just rolling Bandit through here at our place, and we were getting along great. Bandit was probably the sire of this boar was probably the most comparable to what Stranded was when we had him here in terms of just heaviness of structure and just sheer density and mass. And so when Travis and Daryl looked us up about working with him on Doing Time, we definitely want to get him in here because, like I said, we needed that Bandit line to come back through. We've used I've bred quite a few of them this summer. Hands down daughters. I actually bred to Doing Time here. I know that we're getting out there with hands down. There's getting to be quite a few of them daughters that are going to be surfacing out here. And the Doing Time, in terms of just that extra substance, the extra stoutness that he brings to the table, which hands down comes from Harvey's as well. I'm definitely, you get me into purebred livestock, and I'm one of them guys that likes to line it up. And our Yorkshire side of things is built off of lining it up. And when you get a firm like Harvey's that's had the success they've had in the Hampshire ring, definitely I think the tighter you can wind that stuff, the better off you're going to be. And Doing Time's definitely going to do that here at our place. And hopefully you guys take advantage of that opportunity on those Hampshires, because he will bring substance. He will make them massive. The better built, better designed, hands down daughters like I talked about is where we feel that boar there has a bunch to offer in the Hampshire breed. Next board we got here is Hands Down. Hands Down would be our purchase there 2 years ago at the Southwest Type Conference. This particular board here, Hands Down, is a chatter, self-employment. This board hit the ring down there at the Southwest region, or excuse me, Southwest Type Conference there in Belton. Todd Kennedy and I was standing there, and I couldn't get on the phone fast enough to call Kilmer and tell him, hey, I think we found a Hampshire boar that we need to buy. I didn't know what he was going to bring, if he was going to bring 50, and I think we ended up giving $16,000 for this boar, and he was hands down the best Hampshire boar that I had seen to date at that point in time. And I still think if you've seen the track record of what Hands Down did this summer, he would have been the premier sire there at Summer Type Conference. Would have had the second high selling Hampshire gilt there for $22,000 that Keaton Woods had there, one that we raised. And the versatility of this boar here, you talk about making them right. And the thing about it is, in a Hampshire breed, build, design, balance, squareness, flexibility is extremely good in that aspect. He will follow the style pretty much in terms of bone. He's not going to hurt you in a lot of places there. If you are looking to add bone, he's probably, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's his job. His job is to make them right. And if you have a Hampshire sow and you didn't get along with your litter very good this year, and you haven't used Hands Down, I would tell you to breed your sow to Hands Down, because he's definitely one that's going to give you a chance and consistently give you a chance. If you're looking to make a Hampshire sow herd, I would start there with them females, and then you can build off of them. I know talking to Todd there at Savage Genetics, who owns part of the Boar, along with Kilmer, our side of it is here with this Boar is the female aspect of it. And if you can get females built like he consistently does, in terms of balance, in terms of design, there's a lot of versatility in what boars you can take over them, and those sows will make a lot of boars look pretty good in the end, is what I would tell you. So Hands Down, again, bred by Harvey Showstock. This would have been a boar we purchased there at Belton a couple years ago, and can't be more excited about what he done. I guess he would have had the high seller down there at a summer type conference bred by Heimer, the Nick Edwards gilt, that would have brought 34,000 that Kilmer would end up buying there. So done an outstanding job, and had as many of them up there at the top end of the class. He would have sired the $100,000 boar there that Harvey's would have raised, $60,000 boar there that True Genetics would have raised at Louisville. I know I'm forgetting some of that stuff, but the champion at Louisville would have been out of him. So he's done an outstanding job, and certainly one that you can use with confidence. Next boar coming in here is No Question. No Question would be a No Limit son that we purchased there. Been a high-selling Hampshire boar there last year at the exposition in Indianapolis. This particular boar here would have been bred by A.J. Lewis and family. This boar here is back on a It's All Good sow on the bottom side. This boar here had a killer look, good back shape, and No Limits did an awesome job for us there, and No Limits would have sired the champion gilt there in the open show down there at Louisville that the Byers family would have had. So when we found this boar, we felt that he complemented the No Limits look and design that he always brought to the table, but he added an extra maybe shot of bone and maybe just a shot more shape when you got right up on top of him with the look and the build that No Limits offered. The power from AJ's program, if anybody follows along, there's one thing with the Lewis genetics side of things out there is muscles never lack, and when you can get them built right and flexible coming out of there of what AJ's done over the last few years in the Hampshire program and maintain that power, that's where we felt No Questions was a great combination of look and still having the muscle. Pigs have done very good so far out of him. First crop showing now. Look forward to these summer state fairs, because I think you're going to hear quite a bit out of him here. And I would tell you, in terms of just look, design, and shape, that's what we're seeing in those pigs right now that we have on feed out of No Questions. He'll stamp the look, he'll stamp the power, and great combination, and still keeps them flexible and still keeps them sound. So taking back to some of those sows that are maybe a little looser construction, a little fleshier, that need that extra shape, and he'll help you out in that aspect. I'm all fired up. Next board coming in here, this is Cruise Control. This is a landrace boar that we had purchased there last summer from Kyle Clausen and the Harsh family. They're up just north of us here. Cruise Control is goes back in here to a Timing's Right, Mayhem. I believe it's got him after that on the bottom side of his pedigree. This boar's matured extremely good, and when we bought him there last summer, actually Kyle sent me a picture of this boar, and I quickly said, yeah, what are you thinking? Because he had a killer look, he was heavy boned, and he gets out and goes, and I think this boar right here, as we've seen the pigs out of him, we're showing one my daughter's got that would have been 4th overall landrace gilt there at Summer Type Conference, a January gilt, and he stamps the power, he stamps the back and the build in him like he always looked. I would tell you, if I was going to nitpick him as a young hog, he maybe wasn't the most extended up front, and I would tell you maybe got to watch him a little bit there in terms of length of front, in terms of maybe making them just a little deeper in their neck, the bottom side of their neck. You've got one that's good built. You got one that needs more in terms of just power, body, and stoutness. He's definitely the boar I would tell you to use. And I know there's been a few high dollar landrace boars sell over the last couple years here. I would tell you that you get on the percentages of sows that this boar's seen versus some of the other boars. This boar's having a pretty good track record. This boar here, I think, is going to be one that if you're looking to come back through with something that need a little extra shot of power, cruise control is definitely a landrace boar to keep on your short list. Next boar we're going to run in here, get into some of the spot boars here. This is going to be Shoot the Thrill. This is a boar bred by Jarrett Mays. This boar here we would have purchased a few years back at the World Pork Expo. Shoot the Thrill would be a DW pistol. He was a class-winning boar out there who won the first class at Expo there a few years back. Shoot the Thrill is one of them boars that I've contemplated on how long I'm going to keep the boar, and every time I think that we need to make a move, he consistently puts one in the winner's circle and consistently does a very, very good job of making spots that have muscle shape, good looking, and good design. This boar right here, back on some of those sows that are nickel heavier bone that maybe need to be corrected a little bit in terms of front pastures and squared up at the ground, I would tell you he will help you in that aspect. He'll give you a great look, great shape, and like I said, the biggest thing on him is where the sow fits in terms of bone is consistently where I would tell you need to take him to. Definitely doesn't hurt you there, but he's definitely not going to add it there. So if you've got a sow that needs a look and needs a shape, he would have had, again, like I believe Laudermilk's had a gilt out of him that would have been in the top 5 there at Springfield. Again, a boar that just does a very, very good job. Would have had the champion spot gilt there at Indiana. Would have been out to Shoot the Thrill. Just one of those boars that he makes me scratch my head from time to time. But then again, every time I turn around, you want to feed one of them out of him because those things keep coming along and very feedable, very predictable in terms of their shape, in terms of their design. Take him to a little bit of feature. He'll follow the sow, and he'll most likely do the rest in terms of look and power. Him and Heads Up. Yeah. That hog, maturity-wise, that one matured extremely good because when he was younger, he had a killer build, but he questionable on bone, and he generates just like that. That's the thing with it. If you get him on the sows that got bone, I mean, them things are real good. But I threatened to get rid of him. Like I said, I don't know how many times, but every time I turn around, hell, he's got something going. Next board coming in the ring here. This is Heads Up. This boar here is bred and owned with Cornerstone Ventures there in Dalhart, Texas. Chance, a good friend of mine, and does a great job of putting together good livestock. This one here is another DW son. This is a DW Headstrong hat trick. This boar here would have his first crop that we farrowed would have been in January. We had him there started last fall, so we sold semen on him. This will be a full year that we've had him here. Chance had the first round of them, got along extremely good with those things down there, winning classes. Excuse me, at the Texas shows there in the Southwest, and Heads Up doing a great job here of exactly what you think he's going to do. Those hogs got some look to them. They're elevated at the point of the shoulder. Their bone works extremely good. If I ever nitpicked Heads Up, I'd always tell you to take him to one that maybe just had a little more length of hip, and I would tell you that. The other side of it is in terms of growth in them hogs, those hogs grow pretty steady. Of our spot boars, I would tell you those are probably as middle of the road in terms of growth curve. If you want to use him, I would tell you those things. State fair size bears probably need to be more 1st of January's. I would feel little more comfortable telling you that in terms of getting them there in size and maturity. But he does a great job of just stamping that forearm, stamping that look, that bone and squareness that he brings to the table in them. Again, I would tell you, those longer, flatter hip type of sows that need a little more shape and dimension is where Heads Up's going to help you the most. If you are in a Southwest breeding program in terms of classifying, he'll do a good job of stamping them things, and you'll get quite a few pull and mark ones out of him as well. So a little versatility there from a color standpoint if you're in classifying versus pedigreed, and again does an awesome job of just stamping that heaviness of structure, that look, and that feature that he offers. The next boar in the ring right now, this is Double Down. Double Down be bred by Emmenheiser and Mays. This would have been the champion boar there at Belton about 3 years ago. This boar here is a double time reason why. And they were just talking to me over here about Double Time, which Double Time was a boar that was one of the first boars that I'd bought in 2016 when we purchased Top Cut, and we actually we ran him all the way through the spring here, and you hate to get rid of a boar like that done a great job, but moving forward here, I think Double Time's done an awesome job of picking up the slack and following right along behind what Double Time had done. This boar here would have had the champion spot bearer there at Expo, would have been the reserve bearer there at Expo, and fit right in, and numerous spot gilts that Yanis would have raised, the Shike family showed this year. And I'll be honest with you, not to sound arrogant, but the list is very long on this boar here. It's almost too long to remember, but this boar here, he does an awesome job. I mean, this boar consistently puts back. He puts power in him. Again, as I talked a little bit about Shoot the Thrill, similar to what Shoot the Thrill does, he probably brings more in terms of just true shape and true power. Consistently, a bone would be the thing, again, as we talk about where he fits in. He never hurts you in that aspect at all, and I always protect maybe that. I hate that word protect, but I would keep that in mind when using that boar. Is a little feature is not going to hurt anything on the south side, but you want to talk about hogs that consistently and predictably do a very good job in terms of feedability, in terms of power, in terms of body shape. Not only does he make bears, he makes gilts, and the gilts are built right, they're feminine, they're good design, the bears are stout, and it's hard to find a boar like that consistently the versatility of making both bears and gilts, and this boar here is one again that I have the utmost confidence in telling you that if you got a spot that's not out of him, I'd say you got a good chance of running that thing back over him. You're going to be in pretty good shape. So this is Double Down. This would have been a champion boar at Belton there 3 years ago, bred by Emmenheiser and Mays. All right, the next board we've got coming in here, this is going to be Money Shot. Yorkshire boar coming in here this time. Money Shot would be a boar that we raised here at the farm, bred by Chad Day Show Pigs. This boar here is a Climax Big Stick. Money Shot comes out of a litter mate he'd be a litter mate to Perfect Day, which Perfect Day would have just sired the record-selling gilt there at Yorkshire gilt there at Summer Type. Money Shot and Perfect Day were honestly completely opposite in terms of their build and design. Money Shot was always the shorter-bodied one, the stouter one, the more extreme one, and Perfect Day was always the better built, better designed one. And being litter mates, you always wonder if they're going to sire in the middle, and they don't. They sired pretty much exactly like they look. Money Shot's the power boar, and I've tried to tell guys in the Southwest, if you've got white cross sows or you've got sows you need to put some white back into to make Southwest Yorkshire bears, I think this boar holds as much versatility for doing that as he does even on the purebred side of things. This thing's looked like this since he was a baby pig. He's always been big backed. He's always had a huge rib cage in him, heavy structured, bone, hair, and density. This boar will consistently generate that. Take back on the Yorkshire side of things, you need to take him to those better built Yorkshire sows that need power. If you take him to a moderate stout Yorkshire sow, you're going to get probably a little too much and maybe just to be a little quick. So I would tell you that, but we could talk about making some white crosses and things like that. If you're worried about trying to get some white back in them or make sure your color's staying consistent on them, this is a boar I think that can do that, and he's not going to hurt you in terms of from a crossbred bear standpoint in terms of power and stoutness. Again, this litter was extremely good. To give you a little background here, his mom would be the 19.7 style. That's a big stick. She would have been 3rd overall at Summer Type Conference. When Will Hildy sold his sows out, 41.8, the gas money sow that you hear me talk about a lot here would have been the grandmother of this boar. 41.8 would have raised a champion bear at Denver this year. 19.7 would have raised the reserve champion bear at Denver this year. Those two sows, along with Stella, are probably as relevant here, and we're going to get into some boars that go back to that, though that have been probably as consistent and probably as predictable of Yorkshire sows that we have here on our farm. Again, so this would be a big stick on the bottom side, back on a gas money, power on 282 is what those are. And we had that 41 liter sow and that 19 liter sow that he's out of does a great job. We'll see some boars here down the line that would be out of Littermate Sisters, the Money Shot, as well as a couple two of those Littermate Sisters are doing a great job in the crate for us here. That would be Mace to him and Perfect Day. So that was Money Shot. Next Yorkshire boar up here, this is Majority Rules. This was the $54,000 boar out of the draft last year. This boar is bred by Kilmer and Hagee. His mom would be Times Up Leaps and Bounds, which would have been a litter mate to the Grand Gilt there at the exposition in 2020. That would have been showed by Brantley Platt there that Kilmer would have raced. The Majority Rules and round one, the two boars here would be out of Littermate sows, would be out of both those Times Up Leaps and Bounds sows. Majority Rules, I would tell you, stamps them as consistently as he looks as anything. Those hogs that we've had out of him this go around were very, very good. Killer look, stout skulled, heavy bone. He stamps that length of hip and the flexibility of hind leg in them things. They pick them up. For Yorkshires, those things are flat hairy. I know that we kind of laugh about the hair thing, but it's becoming a lot bigger deal, and it's one of them things that you're going to probably get into a little bit of selection on here down the road, and he's one that definitely does that. Big hair type of hog, good build, good shape. I would take him back to those stouter built sows. I think actually I'm more excited about the set of pigs I know that we have faring right now, probably even than I was about the ones we had there in the spring, since we got a little better idea where I think he fits in. Wasn't sure how much power that boar was going to bring. He brings good shape, but he generates that look and that build. He needs to be taken back to some of those boxier, stouter, maybe more moderate type of Yorkshire sows that need a little more extra look and extension and design, and he does that very, very consistently. This is Majority Rules here, bred by Kilmer and Hagee. Two young boars, they'd be out of Money Shot's litter mate The boar coming in here now is round one. This Yorkshire boar here is bred by Kilmer and myself here. I purchased when those sows sold as baby pigs. I bought one out of that sale that Jim had there a couple years ago. This one here, round one is a 10-4. 10-4, be back on the Time's Up leaps and bounds sow that I never seen. I bought her online, and Jim needed a Yorkshire gilt to show that year, so I told him to keep her, and I still haven't seen her. We ended up, we fought a little naval deal in her, and had to end up getting rid of her. But the round one littermate sisters that we got here, my daughter would have been 4th overall there at Indiana State Fair last year, and then we've got another one in production here that's doing a very, very good job. Round one, super stout. He's the opposite of what Majority Rules is. He generates like he looks. He throws more power probably than I anticipated him to. Those things are stout. They've fed extremely good. Brooklyn would have showed the 5th overall York Bear there at Louisville. Would have been a round one. We've got 2 of them things on feed that I like extremely good. And as these hogs have grown and matured, I'm very, very excited about what these things can do. Talking about money shot, those 41-8, 19-7 sows, both those sows had round ones this time. And both them sows throw a lot of power, and with him on top, they had a lot of power. Those things for bears have been extremely stout. I like what we're seeing in this hog. Those things as little pigs, I will tell you, they may read a little bit quicker. They read maybe just a nickel fleshier earlier in the stage of their life, but their growth curve has been very good. The bigger they get, the longer they've been on feed here. And when I say longer they've been on feed, I mean in terms of just their maturity. They've grown into everything. Their extension has been very good, and they still got power, and they still got substance and stoutness to them. I think the biggest thing that I see in the round one stuff is just the rib shape, and the upper portion of their skeleton has been very consistent, and just that body shape and that curvature of the upper portion of their body. So this is round one. Certainly one that I would tell you to use with confidence, like what we're seeing out of him. Very, very good boar here, and that's lining up the combination of Stella. There's about 2 shots of Stella in that, and then you get back in there with that leaps and bounds sow that Kilmer has up there that's done such a good job for him. Pedigree-wise, I think is very, very solid. Next boar we're bringing in here, he's a little bit stubborn here, but we'll try to get him drove as good as we can. This boar here is Tripping Out. This is a boar that Willie went over to Doc Trips there in Oklahoma and picked up here late last spring. This would be basically a new boar that here in terms of semen sales. This is an all-struck Chaos. This boar here out of a deep litter there that Doc had there at his place, and this was one he was going to keep back, and Willie talked him into sending him up here. And this is one of those boars that you talk about bone stoutness and feature and length of body and shortness of body, back, power, whatever term you want to use from that standpoint, he fits in there. To be honest with you, after I've watched what some of these Majority Rules have done in terms of maturity, this is probably a boar that I'm going to take back over a lot of our Majority Rules daughters that we have here. In terms of those sows are good built, they're extremely loose in terms of their flexibility, and let this boar bring the power and the substance that he has. And for as stout as this boar is, he's always been very genuine in terms of his squareness when he goes away from you. He's always been stubborn and kind of a slow driver. I wish he'd pick that up a little bit here to actually get a true testament of what this boar is. But I think when you get down in there and you talk about a Yorkshire boar at this age and this maturity, and you study the amount of blade and the amount of back shape that thing has in him for a Yorkshire right now, I think that's a good testament to what to expect out of that particular hog. Build and design, I think you get back in there on those sows that have look and extension that maybe need a shot of just substance and body. I definitely think this is a boar to definitely try in a place from that aspect. So this is a Doc Trip boar. We're calling Tripping Out. Next boar we're going to show you here, mature boar, rumor has it. This boar here is bred by Newcastle Genetics. This is a boar that we own with Andy and Kilmer Swine Farm. This boar here, this is to be his. This is his third fall, I believe, coming in. First crop out of him, he would have had the Grand Bear there at Indiana and numerous county champions throughout the Midwest there 2 years ago, and he hangs right in there. Consistently as predictable as any boar, probably that stands in the stud. This boar right here will usually keep you on track, and his stoutness, his bulk, and the mass that he brings to the table is very, very good. And hog's feed extremely good out of him. Again, he's one of those boars that we talk in some of them in terms of feature. He'll stick with a sow in terms of where he heads you in bone. We've ran him over a lot of never before daughters that we picked up when we purchased from Marceau, and Jim at his place I know has got along very good in that combination. But where he lies is, I think the best of this boar is still on the maternal side of things, of what those crossbred gilts can do with the next generation. I know we've got quite a few of them things laid in here, and I've got a big group of them that are coming up that we'll start breeding on here for summer pigs. And I know I'm as excited about breeding those those rumor has it daughters as I am anything. And consistently putting flesh, he keeps them sound, he keeps them square. And as Jim says up there at his place, if you don't know Kilmer Swine Farm, they're big on groups. They sell a lot of group pigs. They back up, they open the nursery gates, and he said there's one thing about it. Semen quality on this boar is as good as anything out there. You get big litters, and he said there's no sort. He says we open the gate, and we load them out, and we send them out, and he said there's no questions asked, and the customer feedback's very, very good. And I know we're all trying to swing for the fences and make the unique ones, and I think that term is absolutely terrible, because any more of the unique ones are the ones that aren't messed up, in my opinion. So if we can just make them complete and make them good, we'll be on the right track. And this is a boar, I think, that does a very, very good job in that aspect. So this is Rumor Has It, bred by Newcastle Genetics. Hardest ones to make are the ones that ain't messed up, in my opinion. You bet. Next one coming in here, this boar here actually just got in here last week. This boar here, this is Forgotten Country. This is a boar that come from Cassidy Hayes there in South Texas, and this was kind of a last-minute opportunity here. We had bought a spot boar from Cassidy there out of the exchange, and we went to pick him up, and we got to talking about it, and he wanted to know if I was interested in bringing him back up here. And this boar's track record in his first crop has been very, very good. And this one here, he's a cheetah, never before. And this boar here, in terms of good built, good design ones, he stamps them in that aspect. This one, I got to look through here. Cassidy sent me all this. He would have had the reserve heavy Yorkshire there at Houston this year, the reserve lightweight cross at Houston, 5th overall crossbred gilt there at the Texas Elite, a class winner at San Antonio, and a class winner at Austin. This one here, he said counties and of Grand and reserves down there, he got along extremely good. And this boar here, he hasn't seen a lot of use, honestly, outside of what they've used down there at their farm. So this will really kind of be the first time that he's been offered to the public in this setting right here. One of the things is we talk about him is, I know up here it doesn't mean a lot, but anybody's listening in terms of classifying Yorkshires, obviously he will throw white. He'll consistently throw white. From what Cassidy says, and those things will maintain white in terms of trying to keep a color consistency there throughout the showing season. In terms of power, talking to him, he says definitely this boar here, he'll bring a lot in terms of shape. He'll bring a lot in terms of bone and feature. Does a great job, and he said those things have very, very consistently fed extremely well for them and those families that they work with there in South Texas. Again, this is excuse me. This is Forgotten Country. We're going to jump into some of the new boars here that we purchased, the younger boars, get through some of them here. First of those younger boars coming in here, this is going to be Iron Stake. This is the Butts boar that we bought there at Summertime Conference, the $18,000 class-winning boar there. This one right here is a hibachi back on a next chapter. And this boar here, he won his class, and we thought had a killer look and a killer build and design to him when he was in the ring. And it was a very good Duroc boar show down there at Louisville, and I thought there was definitely some options in terms of what you wanted to set your saddle on, because there was differences all the way through. And we went back and got the boars out there that evening. And honestly, when I made my decision up was when we went back and got the boars out. And once we got this one out and got him in the aisleway, so many red boars that we went through down there. In terms of their feet, those things get a little longer toed. They want to be a little softer on their pastures. That was where this boar we thought was extremely good. And the final decision on this boar was based off of those decisions. And this thing here for a red one right now, he's got big feet. He's short toed. He's up on his pastures, and he's still comfortable when you get him out here on the move. And you combine that with the look and design that he has. I think there's a lot of value in this boar. And I know as we watch red ones here and study the red program out there, you know, there's a lot of them red boars that did get along out of certain boars throughout the summer, but there's consistently maybe not one that's just overwhelmed and dominated. And I think there's a lot of differences of discussion in the red breed. I'm not telling you what's right or wrong. I think there's just a matter of trying to find something that we can get consistently to work on them sows. And the first and foremost thing for me in the red breed right now is that front pasture and maintaining that the right foot and the right angle of that to the blade and to the foot and the pasture, and in terms of that length at the ground. And that's what we liked about this hog. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but that was a big part of it, and that's what we really I think can help in that aspect on a lot of them red ones out there that maybe need to be corrected in that aspect. So we're going to call this one Iron Stake, and this one here was bred by Butts Farm. Next boar we got coming in here is going to be the Poland boar. This boar we're calling No Breaks, bred by Staten Farms. This is an All Due Respect, Dazed and Confused. This boar here would have been our purchase out of the exchange, and I swore I'd never have another Poland boar here, but here he is. So we've got, dude must have caught me at a weak moment, but I do like this boar extremely well. Two things positive about this boar. He has been on the dummy, and his semen quality is very good, which seems to be two terrible situations for Polands and top cuts. So we've got that under our belt already. But this boar here, when dude had called me about this particular hog, sent me a video and very high on him, and so we got us a game plan there and purchased him out of the exchange. I believe he would have been a $12,000 pick of those three that went through the auction there back in June. Again, Staten Farms, for anybody that follows along in the Poland breed, definitely they're no strangers to success in that aspect. And I think when you get to studying this boar, you can understand why. The one thing that they're consistent about is those things have a good build to them. They're very flexible, they're very sound and very true in their build. And this boar follows right in that type and kind, in my opinion. I think the versatility of this one here is extremely good. He is stress negative. I know in that Poland breed, that's always certainly one of the big questions that that you always get, and but very genuine in terms of his build. Very excited about having No Breaks here from Staten Farms. Boar in here. This is in the circle. This is the Chester boar that we purchased at Summertime from Sminky Genetics. This boar here, lost my line here. This boar is a circle back. We're in. This boar hit the ring over there at Springfield, and I thought this boar had a tremendous amount of value in a lot of aspects. First off, he was a big, stout, heavy-boned one that got out and could go, and length of hip and flexibility is extremely good in this hog. This hog here, I'll be honest with you, he's been a little slow taken back to the feed bucket here. Again, we talked about semen quality on Chesters. We have collected this boar very, very good in terms of Chester semen quality. This is a boar there that I stood around ringside and I listened to people talk, and everybody liked the boar. They maybe question, boy, does he have enough look, or where does he fit in? And I'll be honest with you, I stood there and I listened to it, and people about convinced me that I didn't know if he did or not. And finally, the day of the sale, I just made up my mind that I liked the boar, and I thought this boar had a lot of value. And when he hit the ring, the first thing I thought about is, man, if I've got a bunch of Chester gills that look like that one right there, can go out there with the flexibility, the length of body, and the squareness that this guy has, we're gonna win a lot of Chester shows. And I think this boar here, in terms of just his length of step and his looseness of skeleton for a Chester hog that has that much substance at the ground and still has that much power up high, and you study that one coming and going, I think there's a ton of value in this particular hog right here. We don't have him pictured yet. He's not the most cooperative when we go out on the feed bucket, but we're going to get him pictured here this week. We did video him there last week, or here the first of the week, I guess it was, and that you can look up there. But this is in the circle. Chester boar. He would have been the 4th overall Chester boar there at Springfield with the deal they did this year here. He'd have been the 2nd high selling one there at 6,500. So I think I'm very excited about that boar. Like a lot of the things that boar puts together there. Don't get tied up in single trait in that hog, because I think there's a lot of good in what he can offer in that Chester breed. Next boar coming in here is going to be Party Animal. This is the Van Wilder son that we bought out of the exchange from Hayes Farms there, Cassidy and the crew there in South Texas. This boar here, like I said, him and Forgotten Country, they just came in here, maybe a little skinnier right now, but I think you can see the value in this particular hog. This one here, when we bought this one back there in June, thought he had a killer look and a great design. This one here, back on the blackish sow that Justin Rodeball's boy would have showed there at Expo, and I think that was in 2020. I'm not sure what year that was out there. She ended up being reserve spot gilt, and Cassidy and them bought that sow, and she's proven to be a great generator there at their farm. I think this one here, in terms of just look and shape and design for where we're at in the spot breed, in terms of extension and still keeping that shape, offers a tremendous amount. He's got a little bit of a hurt pad there on his back left there that we've been trying to get doctored up there, that he's getting to be a notch more comfortable once we get him back out here. But I think the shape, the design, I think this is a boar that with our stuff that we've got laid in here, the DW sows, and from a customer standpoint, this boar is one I think you can take back over some of the DW stuff, the double time stuff, double down, maybe add a little extra look and extension to it, and let that stuff work on the bottom side in terms of just power and stoutness. So this is Party Animal. This would be the Van Wilder son from Hayes Farms. Next boar we got coming in here, this is a boar that Jarrett Mays and myself purchased there at Summertime. This is the wall boar. We're going to call him Wall Mount. This boar here is a heads up, back on a, look this one up here, lost my train of thought. He is a heads up back on a Timeless. This boar here would have been second in class there at Summer Type, and very green, very immature in his build and design there that day. And he was one of them that when he came up to the ring there, Jarrett and I was talking, and Jarrett was going to basically buy him, and we ended up working with Jarrett on getting this boar here. And I thought this boar here, I mean, in terms of just trueness of skeleton coming at you, his forearm and the shape he has, he broke with strep right there on his back right there at the show, and I'm actually glad it was strep from the standpoint that he wasn't wrinkled up. It's more from getting that healed up there. But I thought this one, in terms of his stoutness ahead and still having look and some elevation, and you get to studying that one's bone and where his front foot sets for a spot that has that much feature relative to his frame. I think this boar's got a lot of genuine and doability to him. I read this one maybe a little longer hip than his dad, as I talked about heads up there earlier long. Maybe watching him in terms of some of those longer hip type of styles, and I thought this boar here maybe read to be a little longer in terms of his length of hip, and when you study him in terms of his hind leg placement, but still had the extra feature and the extra bone and stoutness as what heads up has brought to the table. So, again, on this particular hog here, he was a little greener, a little more immature over there. He's come along a long way here in the 2 weeks in terms of just massing up, and great eater. I'm anxious to see what he does here over the next 30 days, but very excited about this boar. Owned with Jarrett Mays, we're calling him Wall Mount.
You did good, boss.
Boar in the ring right here, we're going to call Black Pearl. This boar here was our one of our summer type purchases. This would have been the $9,500 one that myself and Laudermilk ended up buying. This was the WLT boar. This boar here, again, pedigree-wise, gives you a little bit of a breath of fresh air, particularly when we start talking about getting back into our stuff. He's a lost treasure back on a Like a Boss sow. WLT, they had a pair of these boars there, and both of them were very, very consistent, very, I guess, similar in terms of type and kind. This one here was the one that was probably a nickel stouter all the way through in terms of just width, the forearm blade, and you get to study him in terms of shape. Me personally, I was very excited about this boar. I seen him in class there. We went back, kicked him up, and I thought this one just put a lot together in terms of just squareness, heaviness of structure, and maturity. And we get back into, we talked a little bit in them reds about where you end up on front feet and placement from that standpoint. In the spot deal, that's a little bit of a challenge, is making sure that those front feet stay square and we don't get them too soft on their front pasture. And again, as I talked about wall mount there, I think this boar, when you get to studying this one in terms of just that front foot set and where he hits the ground, and I think if you got a lot of show bears, particularly that look like this thing at 280 pounds, I think you're going to be right in the thick of things from that standpoint. Spot boars around here has been a big thing for us. We've been very fortunate in the spot breed to have tremendous success over the years and consistently doing it. And we ended up with maybe more spot boars than I intended on buying this summer, but we found the ones we liked, and they were in our price range, and so we took as many of them up. One of the things, as I said there, we got a couple different options here, and a lot of our stuff, a lot of you guys that have used our boars, we got a lot of DW daughters and double time, double down, and we needed a shot of something different to take back there to help the customer base out in terms of that next step. And I think we've got this boar and a couple other ones there that definitely can give you some versatility in your breeding program and still keep you heading in the right direction. So that boar there is that was Black Pearl. Next boar coming in here, this is White Claw. This is the Armstrong boar that we purchased there at the Summer Type Conference. This boar here is owned with Laudermilk and Loveless Farms there in Oklahoma. This boar here would be a litter mate to the reserve spot bearer there at the exposition, reserve spot bearer there in Springfield. And I believe he was third overall that the Dreyer family would have showed. This one here, again, give a bit of diversity and pedigree. This one's a new generation, next stop. This boar here, as we talked about some of those other boars in terms of making good built females, I think this one here in terms of show gilts and gives you a great maternal look. And obviously his litter mate Boar had a great run, so he shouldn't sacrifice anything in terms of power. This boar, the two boars that just came out here at the summer type, those were the two boars that we had written down that we were trying to buy. And no matter where they stand, I think this boar here is very, very good. This boar here has been collected. Semen quality in him is very good. One of the things that I told JR, I asked him, I said, you know, he maybe doesn't have the biggest testicles, and I was a little concerned. He said, no. He said his dad's the same way. He said semen quality's been good, and we've collected this boar twice, and semen quality is held very good, looks very good. So that made me feel a lot better once we got him home. But I think this is a big hog right here. This thing coming and going is very impressive in my opinion. He's got great shape, great body, and again, I think that thing for making big time spot gilts, I think holds a tremendous amount of value. I'm very excited about White Claw bred by Armstrongs. Nothing after the other two guys bought farm. Boar coming in the ring right now here is Berkshire Boar. This is Dig Deep. This was our summer type conference, $18,000 purchase there at Louisville. This boar here comes in here. He's bred by Brandon Berger. They're from Illinois. This one, Gruber, wrong one here. I'm on the wrong one. Brandon Gruber here, Illinois. This boar's a Dim the Lights, Amen. This one here, his litter mate would have been the $11,000 high-selling Berkshire gilt there at Louisville. This boar here, when he walked up to the sale ring, Todd Kennedy and I was standing there, and this one took about 2 passes, and I'm like, holy cow. And I watched that Berkshire show, and they're good built, good design. There was a lot of them I thought were skinny. I thought there was a lot of them that need to be better going away from you. And this boar came in there, and I thought to myself, this one here not only is not skinny, he's got big legs, he's stout, and he's square. And I thought this Berkshire boar right here, nothing against you, Doug, but I thought this one here maybe rivals one of the high-selling ones there at the exposition. I think you study this one in terms of body shape and just the spread that he brings to you and the foot and the bone that he's got. This boar's came home here. He's been on gestation sow feeds, what he's been on right here since he's been home. We've kind of let him just grow and get his look back into him. But you take a boar that's got that much feature and that much body and still has that kind of look right there. I think this thing can cut a wide swath in the Berkshire in the Berkshire breed. Not only does he have the substance, the stoutness, he's good colored. So many of them Berkshires nowadays get plenty of white on them, and that thing's pretty solid in terms of his color for a Berkshire nowadays. And I think that one there, if you can't tell, this one might get me as excited as anything that we've got that we purchased throughout the summer. And I think this boar is got a very, very bright future to him for what he can do. Littermate gilt looked exactly the same, so I'm going to say that consistency and predictability of what this boar should generate should hold fairly true to what he looks like here today. Again, we're going to call him Dig Deep. Get into some of these younger Yorkshire boars. The first one here that we're going to run in, this is, who you got, Finish Line? Finish Line. This is one of the two boars we would have raised here of this litter right here. These are the 5 litter hogs. These are out of Time's Up. These would be Time's Up back on Money Shot's littermate sister. So these would be Times Up, back on Climax, and then that Big Stick, Gas and Money, Power On 282 down the line there. This 5 litter was probably as consistent of a Yorkshire litter that we had from top to bottom all year, in my opinion. We kept 3 boars back out of that litter. The $12,000 connection gilt that True Genetics bought is a litter mate to him. There was another $5,000 gilt that's over in Boone County here close to us that would be a litter mate. Then the one gilt that's in Illinois that the Geyer family had that would have been 4th overall there at the World Pork Expo, or excuse me, Exposition there in Division 1 would be a litter mate. Then we got Finish Line and Charge On. This litter has been, like I said, very, very consistent. I went back through and ran Times Up back through, and I probably have more litters of Times Ups right now in the Fairing House, along with what we had this summer. And one thing, we won't show Times Up. He's old enough that you couldn't tell anything about him at this point in time. But Times Up, I found probably is as effective as any boar that I've used back over, whether it be some of the Jasper lines and things like that, in terms of the look and design that those pigs brought to the table, and bringing his substance and his mass back in there. And Times Up consistently, you look at this boar here, this is what we consistently get out of Times Up in terms of just stoutness of skull, feature. They still got look. They handle themselves extremely good out here on the move. I think, again, we talk about a very consistent litter in what Finish Line's out of. Times Up's one of them boars, and I'll talk about him right now while we're doing these Times Up sons. Times Up is one that if you study pedigrees and you get into Times Up, and I was talking last night, the NSR started that influential sire deal there a few years ago, and Times Up was the Yorkshire influential sire that year. And what it bases off of is, that doesn't just base off of how many pigs are at the show, like the Premier Sire side of it does. It actually bases it off of how many litters were out of that boar, what they do at the shows, and how consistent do they get along. And I think we lose track of that. And Times Up's one of them boars that has done that, and he's done it time and time again. But most importantly, not to ramble on Times Up, but the Times Up sows are very good. And if you ever pick up a catalog, Times Up is on the bottom side of so many pedigrees, and that consistency, I had to make myself go back and do it again to make sure I had enough of those Times Up daughters laid back in here to keep moving forward in the direction that I want to move in here. And he's definitely one of those boars. I know we got these new sons, but he's one that definitely don't lose track of that boar, because the value still lies extremely profitable, in my opinion, of that particular hog. This one here, he's a little banged up here. He hurt his shoulder the other day, and I wanted to show him to you. We got him somewhat going here. This is going to be Charge On. He's a litter mate to Finish Line, and he has always been the stouter, the power boar of the two. He was the stoutest one in the litter. He maybe wasn't the best looking one of all of them, but he was always the biggest back, the stoutest ended, always the biggest ribbed hog in there. He's definitely the more extreme of those Yorkshire boars that we probably have in our younger lineup. And like I said, he banged himself up there. He's not quite as comfortable, but hopefully you can appreciate him for what the power that this hog brings, and the roundness of rib that he brings to the table. For what we think he can offer in terms of generating just that extra width and dimension. So this is Charge On, Finish Line Charge On litter mates. They're both, those things will be Times Up, back on Climax. Money Shot, Perfect Days litter mate sister. Next one we got coming in here is going to be Perfect Day. This is going to be Perfect Day 45-4. This one here would be a Perfect Day in control. This would be back on the Stella. It would be the sow that this one's out of. Perfect Day would be in what the Bloomberg gilt was that we raised. It would have been the record-selling gilt there at Louisville. Would have been out of Perfect Day. I don't have Perfect Day anymore. I kept back. We had this son, and I actually had another one that ended up ulcering on us or something. We're not real sure what happened, but we're down to one here. But the one we do have is the one that I always felt the most comfortable with in terms of just the skeleton and his flexibility of the two. This one here, back on Stella, the one thing that she does is, I mean, that thing there consistently does a great job of making boar prospects for us here. And I don't don't know how many more litters she's got in her, but she will stamp them and give you a look, and she will give you muscle. And one of the things in the Yorkshire breed is always shape and maintaining that muscle. This boar here is definitely a boar that I think will add look to him. But at the same point in time, he's going to give you a big back. He's going to give you he should be very consistent in terms of bone and feature that he sires and generates. And I still say, like I said, without sacrificing that shape and expression on the top side. So this is a Perfect Day 45-4. Next boar we're going to have coming in, Duroc boar. This one's going to be Broken Arrow. This one here is one we purchased off the farm from Jeff Mitchell over there in western Indiana. This is an unbroken red eye. This is actually this boar would actually be out of a bred female that he would have purchased from Platt there last winter. Again, this one here is an unbroken red eye. We're going to call him Broken Arrow. This boar here, when I went over to Jeff's, I was over in the area looking at some other hogs, and he had me swing in there and hop this boar up, and I thought a very, very interesting red boar in terms of we get into just talking about feature and stoutness, and this one coming at you, he's got a big old stout head and still got look and got a big hind leg working in him there, and you study him in terms of bone, and still reads very massive and dense, in my opinion, in terms of just studying that one up through his shoulder, back through his body, and then his squareness when he goes away from you. I think this one's got a lot of upside to him there in terms of where you end up putting him. I think there's plenty of those red sows out there that maybe have a little more streamlined look to them, that's got shape and got design, that maybe need a little bit extra in terms of just that feature and substance down there at the ground. And I think this is one of those red boars that can definitely help you from that aspect in terms of just giving you a shot more in terms of bone and still keeping that extra flesh on them. To have the feedability to get them right for those big shows. And so this is unbroken. I think a very heavy structured boar here that we like the future of this boar extremely well. Next boar that we got coming in here, this is, we're going to call this one 51-2. This one here is our purchase from Ottenwalders out of the legacy sale that they had there this spring. This is a boar we own there with Newcastle Genetics with Andy Forehand. Russell, I didn't get a chance to go out there and go through all the boars, and Russell sent me videos of them, and I tried to get out there about 3 or 4 times, but it just never worked out. And when he got done sending me the videos on him, he's a BD40 son. BD40 back on a up-down. And when he sent me the video of this one, I thought this one here, in terms of what we've got going with a lot of our program and our customers that come back year after year, this one here, in terms of just his squareness, his build, his extra stoutness, is where we thought this boar definitely could complement some of those better built, better designed ones that maybe need to push the limit just a nickel further. I thought this boar here, in terms of just bare build, bare body shape, and you get on the top side of this one and study him at the top side of his blade. That thing's got a big flat square blade in him, and then he maintains that, I mean, all the way down his top line and out through his hip. And I think that and still combines that with some upper rib shape. And it seems like so many of them nowadays out there, we can get the width up high and then we lose it in terms of just the curvature of the upper portion of their skeleton. And I think this one, in terms of his build, in terms of maybe being just a nickel shorter bodied, and I think it works to an advantage of making those things with just a little more extra punch through the center portion of their body, and still has a great look for the amount of power that he's got. Like his genuineness coming at you, like him when he goes away from you. I think this is one, if you need a little extra push to get a little extra stoutness in them things, 51-2 is the one that I would tell you to keep up there on the short list. Next board we got up, we're going to call Cold Feet. This is a wedlock tell-all. This is a boar that we would have raised here, Chad Day Show Pigs. This one is a wedlock. The tell-all sow would have been the calico gilt that my daughter showed there last year that was 5th overall at the exposition that I would have purchased there from Lackey that we would have showed last year. This is the only male hog in the litter. That was one, just to talk a little bit about frozen semen, which I didn't talk about. Kyle's going to get mad at me here. That was one dose of wedlock that we froze here, and she had 16 pigs. So anybody that gets concerned about using frozen semen in terms of quality and conception rates, this is a prime example of that if the semen's good when you freeze it, it's good when you thaw it. And great litter. All gilts, I said, one boar, obviously. Gilt my daughter showed there would have won the first couple, 2 or 3 jackpots there out, and has had a good run all the way through the summer here. Deep litter. I didn't sell any of the gilts out of this litter. We've got all them sitting in the finisher there waiting to come home here to get to work on. But a boar that from a wedlock perspective, this one here in terms of his look and his back and his squareness, he's always been one that's always been a power hog from start to finish. Always had good bone, good feature to him, and he was maybe one as a young hog that was maybe a little more extreme than maybe I thought I wanted to start with. And as those wedlocks have grown in maturity, I would tell you they're a lot like what the Lock It Up stuff had done there when Will had him at his place in terms of they've got a great look and they've got some frame and some squareness to them. We've got wedlock here. The only reason we didn't show wedlock, his semen hadn't been good since we've had him here. I don't know if it's going to come back, so we're running the wedlock sons out and we're going to let him sit there idle for a little bit to see what we can get done. So this is cold feet. This is a wedlock tell-all. Next one we got coming in is joint custody. This is another wedlock son. This is a wedlock, lock it up, sugar daddy. This one here, so this one be lined up in there a little bit on the bottom side with wedlock's mom on both the top and bottom. This sow here would be was one of the Marceau sows that came in that Eric would have called Eclipse. That sow there was one of his kind of foundation sows. That one got a lot of popularity there at LSU when she was showed as a young hog and done a very, very good job. This boar here was a little ouchy here yesterday on his fronts. Not bad, but we're hitting that size there where we start to get into that. But this boar here I've always been an extremely big fan of all the way through. And I thought this one here always had what you always remember in the Lock It Up side of things in terms of the look and the extension that he always had in the front portion of his skeleton. This boar always had this. He always had a big turn to his top. He's always been big ribbed and he's always maintained his squareness. I like the flexibility of this hog in combination with what he has to offer in terms of muscle. Very good boar, very good litter. We've got a lot of daughters that are out of this particular sow here, and you think about Lock It Up on the bottom side of so many pedigrees out there. This one here's got 2 shots of Lock It Up's mom in his pedigree. I think the value speaks for itself of what the generating power could be of the females that are out of this particular boar right here. So we're going to call this one joint custody. He's a wedlock, Lock It Up. That one went back to the old sugar daddy sow, which would have been the mother of Alligator Liz. Isn't that how that worked?
Alligator Liz was the old, what the hell was the guy's name? That complex center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. All that went back to.
I judged that Alligator Liz.
I got to think about this. Maybe on the bottom side, he's a sugar daddy, Alligator Liz. Is that sugar daddy? Boar in the ring right now. This is Rusty Cage. This boar here, bred by Swecky, owned with Swecky and Lackey livestock here. This boar here is a King of the Hill Visionary Bear 22. And this boar here, I don't know if needs much introduction. Had an incredible summer last year. He's still having an incredible summer as we went through him here, and anxious to see. It's always interesting when you go to the state fair size of things and see what surfaces that you don't even know is out there. And I have a feeling we're going to see quite a few of these Rusty Cage daughters that are going to pop up. Had the Grand Reserve there at Ohio last year. The Grand there at Indiana last year. Started off with a bang here in the Midwest. in his first crop, and the might be one of the biggest things about it here is not only is Rusty Cage a very impressive boar in terms of phenotypically and from a bear siren side of things. I'm not sure that some of these Rusty Cage females aren't going to be as where some of the most profitability on your Rusty Cage litters might end up being. And ironically, Swecky, he texted me there the other day about getting some semen, and he made the comment about the Rusty Cage daughters are incredible. And we've kind of seen that, and I've got pretty good feedback from most people that have used Rusty Cage, and most have alluded to the same concept that the female side of him has been very good. He's going to make them stout. He's going to bring a ton of power. He'll put you out there in terms of the extras, in terms of build, in terms of just that extra mass and that center body. In terms of just look and design, I would tell you that those sows that got a little more look and design certainly aren't going to hurt you from that aspect, and then let him go to work and bring the rest, because he's going to bring the power, the stoutness, and the feature to get them things to the upper end of those classes. So this is Rusty Cage, bred by Swecky, owned with Swecky and Lackey Livestock. Try to get you out of here before it rains. I don't know if we're going to get it done. So we get down here, the next boar we got coming in here, as we wrap up here, before everybody gets out of here, certainly want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day. The last boar to come through the ring here, this is BD 40-1. This boar we got in from Ottenwalders there back in May. This boar here, after Russell and I talked back and forth different times there, and talked about the 51-2 boar, the BD 40 boar was definitely one that I wanted to try to get Russell to work with me on, and we finally got it done and got him out here. BD 40-1, he is a BR 64-1 straight survivor. So BR 64-1 would have been a breaking rules son that they had out there at Ottenwalders there in California. And you get back in there, you got Fortune, Reneg, a lot of good sows on the bottom side of this particular boar's pedigree. This one here, I would tell you, as you've seen in the younger boar, he's definitely not going to hurt you in terms of stoutness and power. He still maintains the look in him. His body length, in my opinion, is very impressive for the way this boar is constructed in terms of his frame size. And then you look at him the way his length of body and proportion is, heavy boned and square. We're very, very excited about getting BD 40 in here. I think this boar's got a bright future. He's doing a great job for Russell and the crew out there at Ottenwalders. If you follow along with their program at all, you'll see them things start popping up and start surfacing here at them shows that they're running out there on the West Coast right now. I think we'll hear a lot of big things out of this boar. So this is BD 40-1 from Ottenwalder. Again, this one's he's a BR 64-1 on a straight survivor. As Kyle wraps up here again, if anybody on the frozen semen side, if anybody is interested in frozen semen, purchasing frozen semen, if you go to Show Circuit online, all of our frozen inventory is up there. If you want to purchase any frozen semen inventory, you can go on there. You can click on it. It's a click to buy. It tells you what the price is, what the availability of it is. It sends it to us. We can either ship it to you, or we can, if you got a tank, you can pick up today. A lot of guys have picked up today. But frozen semen side of things, I will tell you this. If you are in an area, or if you got a board that you want to use, having that stuff sitting in the tank on hand, to whether you may have to start one early or you may have to clean one up with an extra dose, or just have it on hand when they come back in, is about as good an insurance policy as there is. And like I said, it's one of those things that it's not voodoo. It's actually pretty easy. Once you do it a couple times, it's very straightforward, very effective, and it's somewhat cost-effective in most cases as far as buying it frozen versus buying it fresh. So if it's something you want to talk about, run Tim or myself down. We freeze everything here on our own boars. We've got our own equipment here that we do it with, and we've got plenty on most of the boars. The only thing that we haven't froze yet is the young boars, and we'll probably try to freeze them here the first of the week, assuming everything looks like it's up to par, that we're comfortable with freezing it. So if you got any questions on that, holler at us. We'll get you fixed up. And again, appreciate you guys coming, taking time out of your day. I know some of you came a long way, and we couldn't be more excited for you to be here today. So thanks again.